Good afternoon. So, today's going by just fine. Had the little ones and the dog earlier. We hung out. My friend just went to work. You hear the kids coming around here to play now. So, I was charging my phone earlier, and when I picked it back up just in the last half an hour, there's kids playing in the driveway. They're not mine. When I picked it back up, there was a recommendation for a song, but also for Preacher Steve. Being lost in the moment. Well, the song that played, though, was Ruth B's Lost Boy. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. I like it. It's a cute song. Made me smile. Made me think of a few different lost boys. Everybody knows I always say I always pick up all these lost boys. There's something about boys and me. I get along with them usually better. But, Preacher Steve's talking about being lost in the moment. Well, the first question out of his mouth is, do you have a friend that makes you feel good for 5 minutes? Now, I know many of us do. Many of us have one of those friends with benefits. No, I don't. I don't have a friend with benefits. But I have friends. And he said, as you said, I have many people who, in dark times or in hard times, that I'll call. And I'll say, hey, I'm having a rough time. I have many friends who call me when they're in the same boat. It's not the kind of friend he was talking about, though. And the reason he was asking this question is because he went into the story about the Israelites and how they had rejected the grapes of Canaan. And they went into the wilderness, which is funny because my shirt today says, into the wilderness, John, hold on, let me read it. John 20:31. Amazing encounters with Jesus. And it's got like a robot dude. So I take that for technology, and then it's got animals on it. Nature. Well, welcome to the wilderness. I am further north than I've ever been. Further north you go, the more wild it gets. I was just discussing that with my friend earlier. The further north you go, the more heavenly it becomes. If my boys remember that conversation when we were driving through Kansas, and I said, hey boys, look out the driver's side window. Now I was in the passenger seat. Their dad was driving. And I said, boys, look out that driver's side one. If you look out that way, that takes you south. And remember, we're driving through Kansas. You know, if you know what my opinions are about my feelings from the second that I crossed into Kansas state lines until the next morning after we spent the night in that state. It was a bad night. It was a bad night for all of us. And the next morning, once we got out of that state, and it felt like a fist being clenched around my heart the entire time I touched Kansas soil or even breathed its air. I'm not the only one. Apparently, see, there's people who we talk to since we've been back, and we say, yeah, forget Kansas. And they say, yeah, man, we already know. We go around Kansas, you don't go through. Well, I've already went through it. I don't need to go through it again. To me, it's like the doorway to hell being in that state. I apologize to anybody who's from Kansas. If you like your state, I apologize. Your state hurt me driving through it. It was beautiful. But when you looked out the driver's side window, you looked further south, you just saw how it just kept going drier and drier and drier and drier. And I said, but hey, boys, look out the passenger side window and look north. Because we were driving straight east and went from east to west. We were going to California. So I said, but look out your passenger side window and look north. Notice how it keeps getting greener and greener and greener. And if you go south and you go through that dry area, you better make sure you're prepared to go through that desert. You better make sure you're prepared to go through those flatlands. You better make sure you're prepared. You better have water. You better have food in your back. You better be ready. Because if you go south and you go walking south, well, if you're not prepared, you won't make it. You might if you find help, but if you're doing it all alone, you'll never make it walking down south, going through the desert without being prepared, without having what you're going to need, because it gets really super cold at night going through that desert, and it's really freaking hot during the day. And there's things there that can hurt you. Well, I mean, there's things everywhere that can hurt you, but the things in the desert, man, they are created for that harsh environment. And 90% of them are poisonous. Even the plants. But if you find the right cactus, you might get some water. Because they do hold it up inside of them. But you better make sure you got the right one. Because if you pick the wrong one, well, you're in for one hell of a hallucination. If not death. Depending on how your body reacts. But if you go north and you go start walking through that green land, the elevation is going to get higher because eventually you're going to hit those mountains. You're also going to hit trees, grass, animals that were not made and built for survival and only survival. They were made to live. The deer, the elk, the antelope, the mountain lions. Nah, but they're predators, right? Yes, but if you're smart about it, can you not take down a mountain lion, dude? Don't humans do it all the time? If you're prepared. If you know what you're doing. Yeah, you're not likely to see zebras up in the freaking mountains. Well, unless it's a human one. Here's my black and white for all my EDSers. I got my zebra colors on. There's my more black and white. And gray, I mean gray is in between. I might not be able to smoke this. I guess so. Just be careful, beautiful. You know you can ride the big boy bike?
Yeah.
Good job, girly girl.
And this is my Bible.
Is that your brother's bike? Well, you're doing an amazing job riding it.
Thank you.
Gotta encourage the youth. That bike's almost too big for her, but she's giving it one hell of a try. No, but see, he was talking about when the Israelites decided that they didn't want the grapes of Canaan. They wanted to go into the wilderness. And in the wilderness, they were given manna. It was okay. It's made them survive. It helped them survive. It was a blessing from God to help them in their survival. But the only reason they were stuck eating manna for a year in the wilderness was because they denied their faith. They lost it. They become lost boys. And they went into their own little way of Neverland. Oh, but did they? Actually, it feels like they got stuck on Earth while everybody else got to go to Neverland then. Because Neverland's supposed to be a beautiful place. But they become lost. They got stuck eating that manna for a year. And then the more they ate, the more they lost their faith for a minute, and the more they were like, man, but we want that fish of Egypt. We miss that fish of Egypt. We miss the garlics. We miss the spices. We miss home. Why? You miss being a slave? For a taste of fish? You know, most people who know me know I don't particularly like fish. It has to be like deep fried and smothered in tartar sauce or something else in order for me to usually eat it. If my mom made salmon patties or mackerel patties, I would eat them with ketchup. But I'd eat those bones out of it like they were nothing. I remember. But I never really liked it enough to want to make it for myself. Well, the other night, my friend was, we have a smoker, and he was smoking out some food. And he said, I'm going to smoke some cod. And I was like, I'm not really big on fish. He said, well, I'll make you some chicken too, just in case you don't like it. I added nothing to it. I ate it. How he made it. Smoked. With wood chips and flame. It was good. However, whatever he seasoned it with, whatever he did to it, I don't think he really did a whole lot. He just smoked it. It was like the best fish I've ever had. I don't like fish. But it's the first time for everything. I relate to that story that Preacher Steve was saying. I get it. I get how when you are so lost and so in despair that it would make you want to go back to being a slave. Just for the perks of those chains. They were willing at the end to go back to those chains, to being a slave, because they had lost and they were in despair. Even though if they would have just accepted the grapes of Canaan, or they could have been in Neverland. They could have been eating better. They would have had more of everything they needed. Oh man, they just had to accept those grapes of Canaan. They just had to accept their faith. Not the religion. Not a religion. Not any particular religion. Their faith. That their higher power will provide. But see, years of slavery will make anybody, and I do mean make anybody, willing to go back to being a slave if you're in such despair, especially after a year of eating only the same thing. Oh, I ever do feel this message. So yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of friends, and they help get me through my despair all the time. And I try to help them in return. I accepted my grapes of Canaan. I eat fish. Big changes. Ah, but they're not. But they're just little ones. But they are huge in my life. And all I did was just accept my faith. Less than 3 months ago. Less than 3 months ago, I would have argued that I hated God. I hated him. I didn't understand, man. I just didn't understand why. Why did you do this, God? Why would you continue to keep me here? Oh, God. Why? Well, see, because 23 years ago, when my son's dad punched one of my best friends, who's still today one of my best friends. Oh, Geronimo, I do love you. And no, dude, I am cool. I'm not lying. See, he punched him in the eye because we were trying to get directions to go somewhere. That's all we were going to do. We were going to go drive around. Yeah, but see, my son's dad was jealous and possessive. He thought of me as his property. And he didn't like that I was hanging around with another person who had another dick between their legs. Didn't matter if me and Geronimo were never either's type. Even if he swung my way. Well, he does swing my way, but just not my way. We were only ever friends. Still to this day, have only ever been friends. I trust that man with my life. I cannot say the same for my son's dad anymore. But I can still say the same for Geronimo. My friend got that nickname from his grandfather. Geronimo! As he jumps from the plane. As he jumps off that horse. As he jumps so fast to protect those he loves. That's why I would trust Geronimo with my life. But my son's dad, when I was trying to help him, turned around and looked at me and said, "Get out, Jessica." As those 6 people stood over top of him, pushing that fentanyl back into his system. I'd had you clean for 3 days. You were refusing even ibuprofen. How could I have been giving you anything? I asked if you wanted some ibuprofen. You found the gabapentin from your friend Michael. Yeah, remember, I only throw out names that fucking deserve to be thrown out. So, John. Oh, yes. What did my shirt say? John 2031. Excuse my coughing. John. Oh, John. My dear John. I've wrote enough of those letters to you over the last 25 years. Dear John, I love you. Dear John, I tried my best. Dear John, please forgive me for apparently not being what you wanted. I was absolutely what you were needing. You kicked me out for fentanyl. And then you blame me. I was your saving grace. Have fun eating that manna for the next year. Tastes so sweet, but will you even survive a year on it? And I don't give a flying rat's behind what anybody down there wants to try to tell me that you're clean. Because if you were fucking clean, excuse my language, you would look at the messages. You would read them. You would not be still denying me. Because if you really think back on it, dear John, Michael, Andrew, hell, even Kayla, that fake-ass daughter who I know for a fact ain't your fucking daughter, sir. would not have been standing over top of you, shoving fentanyl back into your body that you were already dying. I've got the picture still on my phone. It shows you as a skeleton with skin. If you don't get clean, you won't live another year. But if that's your choice, then that's your choice. When you do get clean, you know how to reach me. I do not accept your blame for your choices, for your decisions. You do not get to blame me, though, sir. No. I do not accept. I will not keep accepting other people's shifts and blame for me to just shove them in my pack, for me to just keep loading myself down with everybody else's faults. You chose to put those drugs in your system. And not just you, but all my other friends who are in the middle of this downfall, this spiral, this free fall that you're taking. I'm not responsible. It ain't my fault. You choose to go buy them every freaking day, or to have them brought to you, or to scam people for other shit. You are the ones who are choosing to do this, not me. Not me. I chose 6 years ago to get clean. I chose 6 years ago for myself. 6 years, 8 months, and today is the 11th, so 11 days ago. That I no longer wanted any of that in my life. Now, I've had one slip when I had a bad flare-up over pain. But I'm not restarting my date for one slip. I mean, it's like I never went back to it again. I'm still clean. Want me to take a drug test for you? I'm in a rec state, so I am a lot of positive for marijuana. I will piss in a cup for any of you. Any day of the week you want me to. You want to say I was trying to keep you drugged up? Why the fuck would I want to keep you drugged up? I wanted John back. Not that piece of shit laying in that bed. You were death rattling. You couldn't even lay on your back, man. I had to keep a check on you every fucking 5 minutes because I was afraid you were going to stop breathing. I tried to get the police to call the paramedics. I tried to get your daughter, who says she's your power of attorney, to take you to rehab. You had insurance. Have fun. You've been eating that man a whole lot longer than a year. Are you ready to go to paradise yet? And so all those assholes that were surrounding him that day, besides the one that I said is okay, we already know, I've already talked to her. She was just confused. She even said maybe if she would have stuck with me, she would have never relapsed. Relapsed. She was already clean. She was clean and you guys gave it back to her. What is wrong with you people? When somebody says they want to be clean, why can't you listen? What is wrong with you people? I have a problem with that. Stop feeding them that nasty ass manna. Let them go to paradise. Let them actually eat a meal. Let them. So those are still in it, stop eating that shit. It's bad for you. Some of you I took healthier food to. Some of you I made sure that you had the right things that you needed. You had a full meal. And you still deny me. Oh, Mr. Shepherd. I've tried to help you now multiple times and you refuse to help yourself. You're eating the manna. While I'm eating the grapes of Canaan. I'm eating full plates every day, made with love. That he comes home. He came home today after working all night, went in that kitchen. He did the dishes because I couldn't last night. I was too wrapped up in my emotions. He understood. He knows what it's like. He's lost his dad. So when I said it was my dad's birthday yesterday, and I couldn't get my head out of it, he said, I know you're emotional and I'm not. Do what you need to do. And he came home and there was really nothing done around the house, and he wasn't mad at me. He knows I didn't sit around all day yesterday. He knows that I went and did stuff. I sent him pictures from when I went on my sunset walk. He knows that I coped with a really bad, hard day for me. Sweet messages from a sweet person who loves me in ways that I have not been loved in a long time. As some ways, probably never. Because sure, I've been fed, I've been housed, I've been clothed. I mean, my clothes all came from other people besides the pants. I actually did pick those out a year ago, so I would have something comfortable to wear when I went to North Carolina to see my son. They were like a $15 pair of pants at Meijer. Hey, but they're comfortable and they fit. I did pick them out. They are my colors. Black and white. Black, white, and blue. I don't have the ability to fix anybody else. I can offer you the tools. I can show you a way for those who ask me for help. But when it comes down to it, you and only you have the ability to fix yourself by fixing your faith. Your faith in yourself, your faith in a higher power, your faith in the world, your faith in those around you. Yeah, but the problem with fixing your faith in those around you also depends on their behaviors and their actions. You can have as much faith and you can know that they can be great, amazing people if they choose to continue the way they are. Well, it doesn't matter how much faith you have in them. They lost faith in themselves. They lost a belief in themselves. And it leaves them in a position to be hurt. See, I found faith in myself again. I know I deserve more. I put my work in. I do deserve to get my Social Security, and I will get it. I'm really hoping it's by the end of this month. But I've been hoping that every month but see, now me and God had a conversation. Me and my angels. Me and my spirits. We had a conversation. We had lots of conversations. Remember I said I've been walking with my ghost now for a couple weeks now. I'm almost at 30 minutes. I will get my Social Security because I put my work in, my time in, and I am disabled. Mentally and physically, I have problems. See, it's not fair for people to use those against me, though. My friend here doesn't. His sister doesn't. I haven't met anybody else really besides his two sisters, one of their friends, and him. I've met a few homeless people when I've been out walking. You know what's amazing though? They all have faith in me. Many of them say, I can't wait to see you again. Because I had conversations and I treated them like they were human. Not like some blight on this planet. And I've treated all of you like you were human. I will continue to treat you like you're human. Humans make mistakes. They also can find forgiveness. They also can find acceptance. They also can find redemption. They also can evolve. You do not have to stay stuck eating that manna. Go find your grapes of Canaan. Hell, maybe start with just eating some grapes. I'm at 31 minutes. I've already made one really, really long video this week. I've made another one that's over 30 minutes already. I kept trying to keep them under 30 minutes. I know I've made a couple short ones, but I'm going to go ahead and end this. That's my lessons for today, guys. Go find your grapes of Canaan. Stop eating that manna from the wilderness. Yes, it was a blessing, but it was also a curse. You were given more blessings than just that manna. Go find them. To the ones who are not talking to me right now. Oh, my oldest boy too. I love you. I know you'll talk to me again. Have faith. I know you're going to get past this hardship you're going through. Mommy will never turn you away. And the mamas do. We keep our faith. Keep our spirits. We turn that light on in our soul. Kind of like this light right here. This white right here. It's right over where my soul feels like it's at. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Go out there and do better. We all deserve better. I love you guys. Talk to you later.